Hey everybody, this is Joe with House of Stereo. We are back to talk about the TAD Compact Evolution 1-TX speakers. For those of you who saw our last video, we did the unboxing and the first listen in the front room, which is our living room, right up against the street, right up against the glass. So now we are in the high-end room, and this is our 16 by 26 by 10 foot ceiling room. This is part of the newly completed House of Stereo construction. Like I said, we call it the high-end room. We have a Focal Powered by Name room over here and two more rooms over there that we're going to be getting to in later videos. But for today, I want to keep talking about the TAD CE1-TXs because this is probably one of my favorite speakers on the planet. And like I mentioned in the last video, I own these personally. They will eventually go home with me. And I did have to fend my father off from trying to take them himself. So let's take a look. Okay, so the back of the TAD CE1-TX. In many respects, not much has changed back here. Of course, the side panels, the stiffening plates, and the ports, this design has changed. And there's a few other little cosmetic changes, but we still have that same custom TAD speaker posts. The jumper cables, very similar. On here, of course, maximum power, 200 watts, 4 ohm speaker. What we're probably going to end up doing is driving the top end with a tube amp. And I'm thinking maybe we're going to use T plus A, the A3000 that we have back here. We're going to use that for the low frequency and the high frequency tube amplification. So what we're really finding is whether it's Conrad Johnson and the Art 150 amp that we have and that we sell, that's an excellent amp. So are the Audio Research. Phase-mation, a little bit lower power, utilizing the 300Bs, we might be able to, the Phase-mation MA2000 is a 25 watt per channel, 300B, dual 300B, so it's push-pull mono blocks. That'll give us that airiness and that warmth on the top end that I love so much, while the T plus A A3000 just gives you all the grunt that you could want on the low end. So I could be wrong about this, but I feel like the cabinet is a little bit bigger than the last one. Not by much, it's not immediately apparent, but it is when I pick them up. They feel heavier, or else I've just gotten weaker over the last couple of years from the time that I last picked up my original CE1s and moved them around. A couple of changes to the stand. This is a newer stand. The way that they're affixed to the bottom is the same. You have 2 points, so the screws screw right into the bottom of the speaker. So ultimately, extremely stable. Now these are rocking a bit, as you can see. That's more attributable to the thick carpet and pad that we have in here than to the speaker being unstable. This is trickle-down technology from the Compact Reference and the Reference 1 series. They have redesigned the beryllium tweeter. It's still using the phase deposition technique, by which what they're doing is they're superheating the beryllium until it basically vaporizes, and then it affixes itself to a substrate that creates the driver through phase evaporation. Unheard of. You know, it's just something that I was absolutely unfamiliar with. But when I look at other beryllium drivers and I listen to other beryllium drivers, there's something about TAD that is just so absolutely natural. Now, the magnesium mid-range, that is a new update as well. I'm not going to tell you that I'm 100% familiar with it, and I still have more research to do. So maybe in a subsequent video I'll be able to talk more about that. This is not an 8-inch woofer, as I said before in the previous video. It is smaller than that, and that makes it even more impressive because the CE1s can get down into the lower octaves in a way that the ME1s, the Micro Evolutions, cannot. So this is still a bigger driver, and this is still a bigger mid-range and beryllium tweeter. This assembly is larger, and it kind of stands on its own in the rest of the Evolution line from TAD. So the driver form factor of the Micro Evolution was expanded upon. So the Evolution 2s, the wood floor standards that we also have here, are based on that ME1 size form factor. So the CE1s are larger, and I really hope to see that TAD comes out with a CE1 sized floor standard. Now, if that were to come to pass, I would estimate that that speaker would be somewhere around $50,000, featuring two of these. The side port similar to the Evolution 1-TX, that's the black floor standard that you've seen at shows, that we've taken to shows before. This is a different animal. This is a speaker, even last night, we had 40 people in this room. We had sort of a soft opening. The Southeast Georgia Audio Group all came down here. We hosted them for a night, and there were several points in the evening where someone came up and they leaned over and asked, "What's playing? Is it the little ones or it's the big ones, right?" And I said, no, it's not. So these people, never having heard either of these two speakers you see before you, could easily think that the sound being produced by the Compact Evolutions was actually coming from the Avant-Garde Duo GTs. Now, the Duo GTs, this is another speaker that we're going to get into in a later video. That's a very important speaker as well. Horns, high efficiency. If you're in that niche, this is a very important speaker. We'll be talking about it later, but for now, let's focus back on the TAD. What I want to do is I'm going to be hooking this back up, and we're going to give this a listen in a proper room with proper room treatment and nice floor, no glass. And of course, we've got everything hooked up with Synergistic Research's Galileo SX cable. Interestingly, this high-end system, the idea of a cable loom being so important was always kind of a nebulous concept to me. Finally, at some point in a couple of previous iteration or two ago of our high-end system, I finally took all of the disparate cables out, put all Galileo SX cabling in, and even some of the guys with 0 to 1 year experience immediately heard the difference. It was easily a 20% upgrade in sound quality, and simply by homogenizing the cables. So as you see here behind me, everything is Galileo SX. We're using the PowerCell SX power conditioner. We're using the active ground block to reduce ground and noise interference. Audio Research preamp, that's the reference 6SE. T+A's reference DAC, that's the SD3100. T+A's A3000 HV to drive these speakers. And of course the Avant-Gardes have iTron amplification technology built right in. So until my new monoblocks are here, we're going to be driving the Avant-Gardes active. But yeah, let's give a listen to the TADs and see what you think.